My name is Andrew Robinson, and I'm from the Kingston Group, also known as the Order or the Davis County Cooperative Society. My dad is Daniel Kingston, and my mom is a third wife, Patricia Robinson, and my dad had 14 wives. So growing up in the Order, it was, I knew it wasn't normal, but it was the normal that I knew. Um, You'd never know if that night you're gonna get a call to go work on some project that I guess my dad thought of, and so we got pulled out of our mom's house a lot, um, and I don't know if this could get us in trouble, but there was definitely a lot of abuse, um, and sorry. So, growing up in the Order, you never know what's really gonna happen the next day. You might get put on a project that your dad thought of the day before, and in the house, there was always a lot of abuse. My dad had really short fuse, and being a middle child, I was able to better navigate life, seeing how my dad would treat the older siblings, and I figured out how to avoid the abuse many times. But unfortunately for, like, my younger sister, she, uh, tried to go through the proper channels of going to the police and telling them about the abuse that was going on, and the cops just brought her back to her abuser, and the only way she could find an out, and she was 14, was to take her own life, so that's what she did. So my dad had 14 wives, and what that meant was 14 different homes. Some of the moms would be pretty close in distance, and some of them could be many miles away. So what that would tell us is that we would get a break from our dad and his abuse. Luckily, it wasn't every single day, so most of the time it wasn't too bad. But at the times he was at the home, then it was important for us to make sure we were on our best behavior. We kept the house clean and we kind of tended to the needs of our dad and kind of saved the best, uh, like the best slices or like a food for him, or just um, try to always approach him and be happy. At the same time, I, I realized the closer we were to him, the worse he treated us. So even while I still believed in many of the beliefs and still was very ingrained into the church, I came to the realization that the more distance I had from my dad, then the better relationship I had with him. Because, and I guess it just came down to that he treated the people closest to him the worst. And me realizing that was something that I wanted to change in my life to make sure I treat those people the best. When I was part of the Order, I did get married in the Order, and I had 6 kids with the wife I have now. I didn't take a second wife. Um, when my mom was still alive, she was pressuring me to get another wife, and my wife was also getting pressure from her side to uh, start looking for that next partner that would join our family. Um, I didn't pursue it because it just didn't feel right, and I just didn't have that desire to do that. The reason why I left the Order is because they demanded things I wasn't willing to give. In the Order, one of the most praised documents is Form 6. It's a really short document. They really hype it up a lot. They say if you ever get the opportunity to see it, it's only because you're now worthy enough to sign it. And what the form consists of is that I will turn in all of my my talents, all of my personal belongings, and my time, and even my thoughts to the church. But that also extended to also turning in my wife's time, like in those same things for my wife and my children. So I was required to turn my children into the church. I told myself that I would rather live a life in poverty than accept any amount of money to force any of my daughters to live the life that my mom had to live, or the same life that many of my sisters currently live. The definition of consecration and turning in yourself and all that, your existence to the church. But then it also extends to you're turning in your those same things for your wives and your children. So you got to turn in your children to the church, and that was something I wasn't willing to give. In 2013, my mom got diagnosed with cancer. When she got diagnosed, then from my understanding, the doctors thought it was a cancer that she could overcome, like if she was willing to follow the treatment that they recommended. But the order being how they are when it comes to medicine, my dad decided to create this um, his own cure for cancer by watching a bunch of YouTubes, reading a bunch of articles, and forcing her to do a lot of these treatments that he just found in random places in the internet. As she was going through the treatments, then I guess we had around the clock shifts to make sure that she stayed consistent with what my dad wanted her to do, the schedule that he made for her, and the diet that he required of her. Um, Later on, then when she went back to the doctor, they said it's unreversible now. It's reached a point where it's basically certain death. And they they hid this from us because they didn't want us to know how bad it was. They My dad continued to do the same treatments that seemed to harm her more than it helped her. And us having faith in him, I personally believed that she was going to recover up to the moment that she passed. So it was like at an instant. I thought she was getting better, and then the very next moment she was dead. One thing that a lot of people didn't really know about my mom was she was kind of a rebel when it came to a lot of the beliefs. She had earrings, which was um, something we wasn't supposed to do in the group. She actually fought and convinced leadership to start transitioning ownership of property from companies to the mothers. So for a short period, then a lot of moms had the properties they lived in their own name. Um, she also had a coffee addiction. She had that from my dad. She would just go to the gas station to get her coffee. So after my mom passed, then um, what is required of a person in the order is they're required to sign a will that you turn everything that you have into the church. So even after death. So yeah, the will is saying I give everything to the church, and if anyone's gonna contest it, they can maybe get $10, something like that. It's not much. Um, but after that, my dad made a list of all of her assets, and we put it or with that list, then he said, "Find out what you guys can sell this on KSL or what people are willing to pay for this, and if you guys want this, then you guys can just buy it at what is I guess, at the market rate." So that's how a lot of us got, um, the property that belonged to my mom. She wanted her house to go to her family, but they're like her kids. It didn't. It just went to one of the wives that was currently watching over her, and when she was, I guess, in those last stages, she was kind of making plans while my mom was still alive of how she was going to change the house, and that was pretty upsetting because we believed it was gonna go to, um, one of her kids. When my mom passed, she had, I think it was 2 kids that were under 18, either 2 or 3, and, um, those kids just got thrown around. They went to different mothers' homes, mothers that didn't care for the children and were treated like they were outcasts. So that I guess that would be a good message to mothers in the order. If you think your children are getting to be taken care of when you pass, they're not gonna be. They're going to just be thrown around and put in homes that have, pa I guess, adults that don't really care for them, and anything that you wish for on your deathbed won't be carried out. When I left the order the way I did, I can't get too much into it, but I can say that my wife was ready before I was. I was the one that needed that extra nudge to realize what was going on around me and around our family. Um, it happened around the COVID-19 time when all of the all of the businesses got shut down and we kind of got stuck at home. And I think of this moment like a snowstorm. Like when you're trying to survive in the order, it's like w- trying to navigate a snowstorm. You can't see 5 feet in front of you, let alone what's around you. But when COVID-19 hit and we were stuck at home, it was like a, a snapshot in time. And I was able to look around me and see what was going on in the order. Then, and we would hear this a lot. A lot of people would stand up in church and say, when you have things that come up in your mind that you don't know why the order does things the way they do, take that idea, put it in a box, and put it on the shelf. And during that time, I I had a lot of boxes, and I started taking them down and unboxing them and seeing how the things worked in the order. And it was like once you see it, you can't unsee it. I I couldn't unsee it. The like a big thing is um, our belief tells us that Satan's plan was to force us to do good, and we'll take all the glory. And when I looked at that, and also looked at my dad, the parallels were uncanny. They were the same. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. And That was one of the boxes. So when we was transitioning out of the order, then we did get some help from Holding Out Help. They helped us with some housing, and that really made the difference. And we was able to move our family out of a property that didn't have any ties to the order, and that really helped us at that time. The biggest challenge that I've had leaving the order was finding new purpose. When you're in the order, then your purpose is designed for you before you're born, which is be born, build the kingdom of God, have as many wives and children as you can, and have those children build the church and I guess give everything you are to the church. So that was the hardest thing I had was finding the new purpose. And I guess my purpose now is I like to imagine myself, and it might sound weird. I like to imagine myself um, far out in the future on my deathbed and reflecting on my life and telling myself that I'd lived a life worth living. And to me, what that consists of is having children and family that love me, be proud of the work I've done that served my community, and remember to enjoy life, especially when times are hard. When I left, then I did go back to school and I was able to finish my bachelor's in computer science. So getting the bachelor's in computer science was something that I wanted to do for, I guess, quite a while. But being in the order and, I guess, pleasing my dad, then it was hard to have your own goals and dreams and um, be able to make time for yourself and for your own goals. So yeah, that's what I did. I was able to complete my bachelor's in computer science. Now I am trying to catch up on life. I have the family that I want, but I am working on my career, just trying to get better. I would say who I am now is I'm a lot different than what I was in the order. I do believe that like I spent a good 30 years in the order. I watched my dad. I understand him pretty well. I look at the life he has and I don't see happiness in it. I see myself as uh I'm gonna have more happy moments in my life and I'm gonna enjoy my life more than my dad did. It's a lot of rewiring of the brain, I think. It's because I believe people respond to situations most with what they're familiar with, and a lot of what I'm familiar with isn't a good example. Especially with raising kids. I look at my kids, I look at what my dad did, and I that's what's normal for me to see, but it's not the result that I want. So I find a new pathway of thinking and operating. And doing that, then I'm liking the results I'm getting with my kids. I have better relationships with them and I get to enjoy them more. It's just a happier way of living. My goals in life now, they have changed a lot. I would say the biggest goals I have is to help my children find purpose and happiness in life. It's I kind of look at it kind of like a return on investment. If I treat my kids well and give them opportunities or help them find opportunities, then later on they'll still want to be a part of my life and hopefully bring me grandkids that I'll then get to enjoy. I would say that's a lot of my goals now, along with getting better at my profession and uh, contributing to my community better. One of the things I'm most proud of was writing my book. Um, I guess the name of it is Escaping the Kingdom of God. I chose that title not because I believe it's the kingdom of God, but because it's what we believed when we were in the group. I guess kind of the my brain dissection of trying to figure out what mess was going on in my brain being grown up in that situation, and then just kind of processing it kind of like my own therapy. I would say writing the book is the best thing I did for my mental health. Just sitting down alone with my thoughts. I think of it like sitting in a swamp with vines everywhere. I'm trying to untangle the mess that I have found myself in. Kind of looking at the rippling effects of not just the beliefs, but the actions that people are taking in the order and how it's affecting the people in the order and the community even outside of the order. Success, what it means to me is I'm successful with my family relationship, my friends and family relationships, and the work that I do, that I'm proud of the work I contribute, and then just remembering to also enjoy life. What's the point of life if you're struggling or just miserable your whole life? I would say the thing I'm most grateful for after the order is letting go of the guilt that comes with staying in the order and what it demands of you. I don't believe in it now, so the guilt is dropped to zero, where before it can consume you. It it's like a huge relief. You can like it's easier to be happy. It's easier to like it affects everything in life. I enjoy my kids more without that burden and just life more. You could enjoy doing things where in the order they would call it a waste of time. You can just be happier without that burden. It doesn't affect you if you don't believe in it. It's it's like a switch. It goes to zero. It's just not non-existent.